How can you make millions of dollars from literally plain old land? Yes, you can make millions of dollars even just from land transactions. How boring is that? Well, let's figure out in this video how you can profit, the 3 best ways that I have found out, and I have a bonus one for us at the end. So let's get right into it. And if you don't know who I am, I'm Mark Kuhn. I've owned multiple businesses that do 20 plus million per year. I own a large construction company with multiple employees and also a concrete company, as well as a development company. I've been doing this for the last 14 years, so I think I'm qualified enough now to talk about it because I've been through some of these processes myself. So let's get into it. How can you make millions of dollars from land? Number one, lo and behold, the best way to do it, maybe you have zero money. Maybe you have no money at all. Maybe you have millions of dollars and you want to just figure out how I can take land and resell it to someone else for an uptick. Well, I always tell everybody, wholesaling is probably the best method if you're going to start out and do it. And do it in your local market. Because when you're wholesaling land, meaning you know lots of local people in your area, or you can get to know them, whether it's the farm community or whoever the landowners are. Usually it's down to a handful of people in each market. If you know them and you're able to find people, maybe from the outside in, I'm in North Dakota, I know my market very well, I know the land around it, and I know who owns it. And I also know many people, aka investors or just people from my network from California or Florida or other markets that are looking for land up here because they like the cash flow market that we live in. Well, if I know the landowner and I can piece together the land, no different as a broker can do, he can just sell them the land themselves. Or as I'm not a broker, I would just wholesale it out and I wouldn't even need to close on the land. We would just have a double close at the time of closing. So wholesaling by far is the easiest method for you to get into any kind of land transaction that maybe where you don't have a lot of money. And in this case, you wouldn't need a lot of money to wholesale land. I think wholesaling is a business that you could get very good at and possibly not even have to have any money at all out of the gate, and a quick way to make profit. So wholesaling is your number one thing. All right, number two. And this would be just quite simply where maybe you do have some money and maybe you're able to buy a parcel. Maybe say you buy it for a couple dollars per square foot, and say this is a 4-acre parcel. And you take that 4-acre parcel and you divide it into 1-acre parcels. And so literally you can go and buy that land for $2 a square foot. You can divide it up and maybe you can sell it for $4 a square foot, right? Because if you kind of piece it out into sizes, you do all the entitlement work, maybe get it qualified for a commercial zoning, and then you go ahead and take that parcel and you start selling it out section by section, making it more affordable for the end user. You already did the entitlements on it. You already did the parcel and plat work with a civil engineer. And guess what? You get to reap the rewards of maybe doubling your money possibly on that investment. And I would say if I'm looking at that kind of a development, I bought $1 a square foot land and divided it into multiple parcels and turned it into $4 land because I was willing to do all the work that most people aren't willing. They just want to buy shovel-ready dirt. And by this way, you can entitle the land, meaning working through the city's council and working to rezone the property. Usually, you'll always have a civil engineer on your side as well, working this side by side and dividing up that parcel so you can go ahead and resell it. This can be done anywhere. You can look in your local market and you can find land that's been sitting on the market and you're like, wow, this would be a great place for maybe condo shops, or maybe it's a townhome community, or maybe it's just a large parcel that could be divided into single family homes. It's honestly a very boring method, but you're able to do it and it works very well. So, all right, let's get into number 3, development. And I like this one. I'm biased because I'm a real estate developer. Real estate development is a way where you can find that parcel. So say, hey, we find this, maybe it's a $4 a square foot parcel, and we can develop on it, meaning we're going to increase the land value. Because after we develop the land, the land should be worth more after, right, than just raw dirt that's sitting there. We're going to have to go get the entitlements done, so we should increase the value that way. We should be able to put something on it that provides cash flow, so we can increase the value of the land that way. And also, through all this, you can do something where you go ahead and sell all the parcels after you develop. So say you, instead of just developing each parcel into single family homes, maybe you build out the entire community and then you sell the entire parcel. So you get the valuation of everything plus all the building and structures that you get to put on it. So instead of just buying, selling, and dividing out, you can actually develop and maximize the land's value and maximize the entire development. And a lot of times when you increase the equity in the land itself, so say you have this 8-home development that you're developing on one piece of land, you're dividing it all out. Well, maybe the land value went from, say that $4, maybe it went up to $8 a square foot. Now you can use that built-in equity to help build out all those structures. So you don't have to bring more cash in. It's actually just you're working with your sweat equity to develop and build in. And the banks will allow this. Of course, check with any of your providers. Banking as a whole is tightening up, so you're not going to get away with large developer fees or that type of thing, but you can unlock hidden value within the land. And always check comps, right? Like you're checking comps around your area. Usually if you're doing things like simple, like single family homes, it's very easy to check the comps on what you need to charge for each parcel or dirt or what you're able to get. So make sure you do your due diligence there. But development is an awesome way. But I want to talk about one way that I specifically love to invest, and that's our bonus. And you can actually, I want to go further into developing sweat equity. So I do a thing called luxury storage. I'm partnering up with people across the nation that watch my content, whether it's like you're watching now, or if it's people that invested into some of my LP deals. And if you're interested in investing into, I do specifically luxury storage deals, you can go ahead and comment below luxury storage, or you can find us at maccapitalgf.com. But if you're interested in doing $0 developments, you can do that within storage. I have done plenty of branding around this, and you can go ahead and take raw land across the nation and partner with people which the landowners have a problem right now. Their problem is that they're sitting on land that they might have bought during COVID. They might have owned it for a long time. COVID happened, and what happened? All these valuations spiked. Well, what hasn't happened? Well, reality hasn't really set in that we're post-pandemic prices now with high interest rates that us as developers cannot pay that amount for the land. But what can we do? How can we get the value for their land and get them into the deal? Well, their land is sitting there, and it's not worth anything if no one's willing to buy it, right? But if we can do comps and do our right due diligence and say, hey, your land is worth X amount, and I'm willing as a developer to have come into this, and you, a landowner that have the paid for land that want maybe $1 million for their land, well, guess what? If you come into my luxury storage deal, we partner as a JV, you contribute your land, so maybe it's $1 million in land. Well, guess what? Hey, we can build a $3 to $4 million storage complex, and myself as a developer is just providing the development knowledge, which landowners typically don't understand. They just want to sell the land. And that's not in all cases, but in most cases, that's the way we've seen it. And we've teamed up with landowners, and we've been doing the leg of due diligence and the legwork of building and developing. And we've actually been teaming up with the landowners and bringing them into the deal. And they're only willing to do this because their land is just sitting there now. Where in COVID, you were having multiple offers and all these cash offers, and you were competing. Now we have this high interest rate environment where things don't pencil easily. You need to have a lot of equity into these developments in order to get them to go, because you know what? People still haven't came down to realization, even with 8% debt. So we get the landowners involved. We go ahead and do our development. We don't have to bring hardly any cash to the table, very minimal equity, and we're able to get these developments done across the country. So again, with this, you need to define your build box, right? Like My build box is, if you're a landowner watching this and you're like, okay, I like what he's saying. If you're a landowner, well, we buy in secondary markets. This is where we look because our storage model can only be single level. We're only as efficient as possible. So we want the best use for your land because when we can give you the most profit for your land. But we go in secondary markets, usually along interstate corridors or where there's some exposure, a busy road, and we team up with landowners across the country. We're able to bring in our expertise and our team into developing and building it out on your parcel. And you get to be a member right beside us, educating yourself on what we're doing while, also unlocking all the value of your land. So hopefully in 5 years, when we go to sell this storage parcel or whatever it is we develop on it, then we can say, hey, here's your exit. And maybe you wanted $1 million. Well, guess what? You made $1.5 million. I should say you got your equity back and you made 500,000, right? So we can work with these landowners, unlock some of the equity that they're just sitting on anyway. A lot of people own this land free and clear, and that's a secret way that we're using to help get these developments off the ground and provide free and clear land to the bank so they can use it as equity in the deal. Guys, again, follow me on LinkedIn, YouTube, all the platforms. I'm on there all the time. Make sure you subscribe to my email on Substack every Saturday morning. I appreciate you all. See you in the next one.